Okay, this is the jet joiner planer combo. First thing I want to show you is the way to set everything up. You have to set the dust collection up each time, whether you're joining or planing, otherwise it won't turn on. The reason is there's a switch, and I'll zoom in later, right here that deploys so that it will turn the machine on. Otherwise you won't get any power to the machine. The couple of spots are, one is this one, and that would be if you're using the planer, you're going to put this down right here. This will actually touch that switch right here. When you're putting it in joiner mode, which we're going to put in right now, this right here is going to hit a switch up into here that will allow it to turn on as well. So if you don't have these touching that little tab in there, it will not turn on at all. So you don't need any kind of screws like these. You don't need any of these. The two right now, you don't need those when you're going to set it up for joiner mode. So this is how we set it up for joiner mode. These little tabs line up right up in here. You put these in there until they slide in. See, now it's in right now. This is loosened, so you have to loosen this. This is to adjust this up and down. Then we're going to put the crank on here like this. We're going to crank it up. Now, one thing I ran into was all you have to do is snug it up on here. That's what keeps it, the friction of it. So now it's in. But sometimes the switch does not deploy. So all you got to do is back this off, press down on the switch, then crank it a little bit tighter, and now you're good to go. Now it should work. Now we're in joining mode, so I'm going to stop and then handheld camera this. Basically, I'm going to show you how to set this bed up right here. Okay, so for joining, there's a little gauge right here. You can see that gauge, hopefully, right here. And I've got it set about on 1/16, just a little less. And then what you do is you come back here, you loosen these up. These are the locking mechanism for this bed right here. This bed is stationary right here. So we've got this stationary right here. This one, you're going to actually turn this left or right to move this bed down or level, and that will actually change the distance on it right there. Now right now the bed was actually pretty flat right here, so the blade, when I checked it with a level, is perfectly flush with the outfeed, which is what we want. This one is set to about 1/16 under, and it gave me a real nice clean cut when I ran it through. So all you have to do is adjust this knob right here. You're going to go counterclockwise. That's going to lower it a little. Then you'll go back to here, tighten this down, and now you're in jointing mode, so you can join it safely. The dust collection will blow out this way. I didn't put any collection on it, and it just kind of fell out on the floor. It did really well. So that's how we do that. Now the fence, if yours is not parallel on here, there's some adjustments that you can do to try to make it square. You can also shim it if you have to. It's not perfect. It does have a little gauge on it right here. It's hard to see, but it's on 0 right now, and it goes to 45. Like I said, not great, but it works. Okay, now we're going to set this up to use the planer, which this is the end feed, so this is what we're going to do. Basically put this back on. You don't have to worry about the locking on the table anymore. Just leave it as it is. I'm going to lower this all the way down. So this is loose still. This didn't need to be tightened for the joining operation. Lower it all the way down to where the thing gets spot 5 inches, and that way you basically, all you have to do is tilt it to get that little tab out. Then we're gonna put it up here, and it fits right into the proper holes. Put this in. And like I said, the planer will not work at all if you don't have the collector on it, because it doesn't have the proper little hold downs to engage the shut-off switch, or the anti-shut-off. So now it's locked down. It's all good. Basically, there's a little tab here that holds this out, so it's out of the way of this. Make sure this is loose. I'm going to put our handle back on. Start cranking it up, and right here you can see the gauge. So right here I've got a piece of poplar, 8/4, and I'm going to be running it through at right now it's 2 1/8 inches. So I'm going to go ahead and put it on that. You can see right here, it's real easy. Crank it up. And so here's 2. We're going to go ahead and go down to just about 2 1/8 and then give it a little bit, because just in case. That way we can see how it'll freewheel through there. And then all you have to do is lock it down by turning this little knob. And then pop this out of the way. So that's it. Lock it down, you're good to go. You can keep this on there or not. I like to just take it off. And then basically hook the dust collection on it. I'm going to go ahead and set this back up so you can see how it runs through the machine. So, alright, so now I'm going to show you how to plane something. This over here. Everything's adjusted. Should kick on now. What it sounds like. So I've got a piece. This is pretty smoothed out. It's not perfect, but I'm gonna take this really rough side of this poplar and run it through, and yeah, we'll see how it does. Go ahead and run it one more time here. Crank it down a little bit. Put this back on. Loosen this up again. And we'll crank it one more time. Just did it like 1/4. I think I did anyway. We'll run it back through. Too bad, a little bit of snipe. The tables on this, I'll show you here. Let me move the camera a little bit. So if I was to check the tables, they're not quite coplanar right here and here. So I've got a little bit of a, it's a little bit of movement. So that's not really good, but there is a way to adjust it out. There's the attachment bolts here. Let me go ahead and unplug it real quick as well. So there are some bolts underneath here that you can adjust the way it connects, and Jet actually sends you a PDF file, I think, on how to do this, but they need to basically sit. Right now they're kind of dipped a little, but you need that straight so you won't get as much snipe for one, but also so you'll get a flat board. It's a whole lot better than sanding it by hand, and it does thin it down, so I thought it did pretty good for this 5-inch piece of 8/4 poplar. So I know that's kind of soft, but it still did pretty good, and I'll show you how it joints as well. So, okay, same thing as before. I've gone ahead and put this back on. The dust collection, I've swapped that around, but I'm going to show you now that I've already had it set like I showed you before on about less than a 1/16 of an inch. And then I'm going to take, again, this board, 8/4, and we're going to run it through there. So go ahead and plug it in, show you how it works, make sure it's on. A little sticky. Probably should have put something else on it to make it a little bit, slide a little bit better. This one is a used model, obviously, but maybe put some wax on here to help that so it wouldn't stick so bad. But anyway, let's see. It did a pretty good job though. Flattened it right down. You can check that. Got a couple of squares here. But it's not too bad. I don't know if you can see that. Let's see. So I don't know if you can see light, but there is no light in there now. But it's pretty good. Like I said, the only thing I'd probably do on this particular machine would be make sure that when you're planing, that the two cables are coplanar. There is an adjustment on it, but you just have to get that right, and then don't take off too much, but at a time. But it does pretty good. So I hope you like the video. That's it.